Hi everyone. Okay, so in this video we'll continue with what we have previously. We've already rendered out this image that we like the lighting to be. Now to create that shadow, that nice shadow for our render here, we're going to have to render in ambient occlusion. Now some of you may have your ambient occlusion still from the CA1 file that you're using here. Okay, go to under render tab. Now you may still have it here. Okay, right, remember this. Okay, so this is all now being applied with a surface shader, but when you render it out, it's going to render in the grayscale value that we did for CA1. Now, so I'm just going to do a recap in case those of you who do not have this layer. Okay, so let me just delete this layer. So for example, if you do not have that layer, okay, you just have this normal layer, what you can do is, let's scroll out a bit, and what you want to do is you just want to click anywhere outside here, right click, you can click select all, so it's going to select everything in your scene. And under the render tab, okay, click on the last icon here. This is called the create new layer and assign selected objects. Click on this, and let's rename this layer, let's call it the AO layer. Okay, AO for ambient occlusion. Now, and if you remember, what we did was we actually right click this layer and we select attributes. Okay, so you can see the word AO layer, right? And we go to presets. Now if you have mental ray turned on by default already, right, you can see the word occlusion. If you cannot see the word occlusion, okay, you need to go to Windows, setting and preferences, okay, plugin manager, right, and make sure your Maya 2MR is loaded. Okay, this is your mental ray. Alright, so now go to presets here. Okay, I'm going to click on the word occlusion, and everything is going to turn pitch black. Okay, so let me go back to the camera. Right now, okay, even though it's pitch black, when I render it, you will see a very nice gradient. Okay, now and because we are doing an interior scene meaning you have four walls, okay, kind of blocking lights coming in, you will see something like this, very dark kind of image. Okay, the light cannot really penetrate in. Now, so what we want to do is, okay, we want to find this thing called the ambient occlusion, right? This is the one. Now if you did not, you already have the render layer and you're not creating a new one like me, you can also select any of these objects. Okay, all of them are being applied with this black surface shader, so you can just select them, right click, go to material attributes. Okay, you can also open up the surface shader. Now, so I'm going to go to the out color. Okay, this triangle icon here. Then you will also reach the ambient occlusion. Right now, because we are in an interior room, okay, because we have four walls blocking the light coming in, so the max distance we cannot leave it at 0. Now this is something for you guys to know. If next time you are doing something of an exterior scene, okay, probably you're just doing some product design, you don't have a room like this, or you're doing a garden or whatever it is that you're modeling that is exterior, you can just leave it alone, the max distance, and it will render nicely. If you are doing something like this of an interior scene, you may want to change this to a number. Okay, so I'm going to put 5. Okay, so max distance 5. This will give us a very nice ambient occlusion render. There you go. Okay, now you would want it to be something like this. Okay, that means it's very white. Okay, what we did in CA1, okay, was we tried to balance it to be a little bit of a gray kind of color, okay, so that it's a bit more visually visible, and that is kind of for us to represent our modeling without any textures on it. Okay, it's good for presentation, right? But in this instance, we are going to superimpose the shadows on our already rendered lighted scene. Okay, so my advice is you would want your AO to be this bright, because when we go to Photoshop and we actually superimpose this on top of the lighted image, okay, all the white areas is just going to disappear, okay, but what is kept is all the shadows. Okay, that is actually what we really want out of this ambient occlusion layer. Okay, we just want the shadows, right? So you would want your ambient occlusion at the end of the day to be this bright, this white, okay, but we want the shadows. Right now, if you find that the quality is a bit grainy, okay, so what we need to do is we need to, let me select metric attributes again. Okay, we need to change the sample. So if you find that it's grainy, 16, you can always increase it. Okay, 32, if it's still grainy, you can go 64. Okay, you can also go 128. Okay, but by the time if you reach about 256, it should be very smooth. Okay, but it takes a bit longer to render. Now I'm going to put it to about 64. Okay, let me render it, because I think 16 was quite fine. Okay, just a little bit grainy, but maybe 64 should quite do the trick. Okay, the one near the blinds looks as if they are grainy because the blinds are very close to one another. Okay, so but in overall, you can kind of see that it's not really grainy overall in the ambient occlusion render. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it as that, 64 for the samples. Now, so once I have this ambient occlusion, okay, so what I can do is just click file. Now I'm going to click save image, and same, I'm going to save it into my images folder. I'm going to call this the AO layer. Okay, and then I'm going to save the JPEG. Now I'm going to pause the video for a while. I'm going to load my Photoshop, and we will be working with our lighted rendered JPEG and this AO JPEG, and we're going to superimpose it for our final piece. Okay, so welcome back. So now I've opened both files in Photoshop. So I have my color JPEG. This is what I rendered previously, right? And I also have my AO layer. This is what I rendered just now, right? Now we're going to put it together. So what I normally do is I open up my AO layer. I just use the marquee tool here, okay, the rectangular marquee tool, and I'm just going to do a full selection here. Okay, and Control C to copy. Now I'm going to open up my color JPEG. Okay, and I'm just going to paste, Control V. Now, right, so you can see the AO layer is on top of my color layer. So what you need to do is you need to just click to highlight the AO layer. So let me just rename it here. Okay, AO layer. So select the AO layer, change the blend from normal to multiply. Okay, so change it to multiply. Now you can kind of see the difference. Let me just zoom in a bit for you to see. Okay, right, so okay, maybe this is a better zoom. Right, so you can kind of see, okay, this is without ambient occlusion, and with ambient occlusion, you can straight away kind of see the shadows is much more prominent. Okay, over here you don't really see. Okay, if I don't have AO, I don't really know whether I have a blanket on the bed. With the AO, you can kind of see the blanket now. Okay, so same thing, I wouldn't really know if the cabinet is against the wall, but with the ambient occlusion I can kind of see it now. So same with the bed frame on the floor, so you can kind of see the difference it makes just with ambient occlusion added. Okay, so with this added, I'm going to save this. Okay, so make sure you save this in the images folder as well. Okay, so I've already saved it here, the Photoshop file. You can also save the Photoshop file if you want. Okay, and at the same time, of course, please please save in a JPEG format. Alright, so you can call this your final. Okay, so you can put here CA2 underscore final. Right, so I will know that this is your final piece that you want. Then you just click save. Okay, please ramp up all the way to maximum 12 quality. Okay, so with that, in your images folder you would have 3 images. Okay, so images folder, you would have your color layer. Okay, so this is the color, and I also have my AO layer, and I have my CA2 final, so that when you submit to me, I will know where is the final layer and where to look at for the color and where to look at for your ambient occlusion. Right, so make sure all these 3 files are in here. Right, so when you submit, what you would want to do is you would want to take the whole folder, okay, with all the Maya folders inside. Now for saving some space, the Google Drive, probably you may want to go to scenes. Now if you have quite a lot of scenes here, okay, so probably the last one, okay, txt, mine is txt 14. Okay, this 14, this final file, what I can do is I can kind of change it. Okay, so instead of 14, I will just change the name to final. Okay, so that when you submit to me, I'll know this is your final lighted file. Okay, you may want to also delete the previous files that you have. Okay, just kind of leave me with 5. Okay, final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the last 5 progress. The rest you can delete if you want. Okay, if you want to keep it, okay, try to save it at another place for your own reference. Okay, so this whole folder, what you do is, right, so you just need to send it to compress zip. Okay, so zip up your CA2 folder and upload it into the Google Drive for your submission. Okay, so that's about it. Okay, enjoy.